Good
Dr.
morning.
Anil Vermani.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning to all the fellow Rotarians and friends, Honorable District Governor Mr. Rajan Gangotra, First Lady Anju, Alpaji, Gitaji, Dr. Bharat, and a lot of people I know because I was a member of the Rotary Club, but I may not be a member officially today, but I was a Rotarian, am a Rotarian, and will always remain a Rotarian. Thank you, all of you, for wishing me my birthday, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And what I'll be talking about in the next 20 minutes is to give you an idea of where we stand today with what is known as the COVID. Friends, never in the history of mankind has a tiny little virus brought the entire world, including the nuclear powered nations, to its feet. Never before has a virus wrecked the economy of the world. Whether this threat is a real threat or it has been blown up by the social media and the TV channels, let us see at what conclusion we arrive at the end of this talk. So I'll be talking on COVID-19. What are the myths and facts? Now, first of all, just to give you a small brief introduction. What is COVID-19? It basically stands for, CO stands for corona, is the name of the family of the virus. VI is for virus and D is for disease. And 19 is the year it really hit us. So COVID-19 is basically an infectious disease caused by a recently discovered RNA coronavirus known as the SARS-CoV-2. Let me tell you, this is the coronavirus is the same virus which causes common cold. And this is a family of that virus which has gone rogue, as they say in the language of CIA, agent gone rogue. So this is one agent that has gone rogue from the common cold. Now, this new virus and disease were unknown before the outbreak began in Wuhan, China in December 2019. But it spread rapidly to more than 120 countries, including India, and was officially declared by the World Health Organization to be a pandemic on the March 11, 2020. When you call it a pandemic, it means there are more than 1 lakh people involved in more than 100 countries. Now, how is it transmitted? It's very important to understand. Now, here is a person in the red who is a person who has been infected with this virus, and here is the normal healthy person who may be susceptible to the virus. The virus is transmitted only when there is a close personal contact with an infected case. And after that, you touch, either by touching or shaking hands, and then you touch your mouth, nose, or eyes before washing your hands. Now, what do we mean by a close contact? For COVID-19, a close contact is defined anyone who has been within 6 feet of an infected person for at least 15 minutes. And that starts from 48 hours before the person became feeling sick until the time the patient was isolated. So it's very important to realize that 2 days before the patient actually became ill, he is a transmitter of this virus. And the virus is transmitted mainly through what is known as droplets, through coughing or sneezing. It is also said, though not, there is no confirmatory evidence, that there are certain aerosols in the air left behind for a longer period, maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, we don't know, that also may cause. And then, of course, there are what is known as fomites, is basically the inert objects like the tap, the door bell, the knob of the door, and all that things, where this virus may persist for a period varying from 15 minutes to 24 to 48 hours, depending on the environmental stability. Now, having said this, there are a lot of myths going around that this virus can be spread by your shoes. No, gentlemen, this virus cannot be spread by your shoes unless you have gone to a hospital where you have seen infected COVID patients. If you have been gone out to the market, if you are going out anywhere, which you are not supposed to do, but as it is, if you are going out, then the shoes do not transmit this virus. It is not transmitted through house flies or mosquitoes. That is a very important thing to realize. And some interesting facts. The elderly people, especially those with hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, lung disease, they have a higher mortality of 15%. But the overall mortality seen in China was 2.3%, and that was in the beginning when we did not know anything about this virus. And I'll tell you where we have reached today. Now, unfortunately, men are 2.54 times more likely to die compared to women. It is said that the female hormones, estradiol, is protective for the women for this virus. And that's one good news for the women. Less than 30% people are going to be hospitalized more because of fear rather than because they need hospitalization. Less than 4% will be sent to an intensive care unit, and less than 1% may require a ventilator. That is very important to realize. Now, the viral load peaks before the symptoms occur, 48 hours before the symptoms. So remember, transmission can occur even in the asymptomatic stage, which means that when I am meeting with somebody, he may not be ill today, but he may become ill after 48 hours or 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. So I don't know whether he is transmitting infection or not. So what we say is that every person is a potential carrier. That must be borne in mind. Now, this is figure known as R naught. R naught basically means what is the infectivity rate of this virus. And if you see, it is somewhere between 2.7 to 3.25, which basically means that one infected person can infect 3 persons. And remember, it can be reduced by physical distancing. That is very important to remember. Now, there is something called community spread. You must be reading the newspapers. People, the government and the health authorities are fighting whether it is community spread. Now, community spread means that we don't know what is the source. We cannot know the primary source of infection. And there is something called herd immunity. Now, herd immunity is said to be developed when more than 70% of the population is infected. And there are scientists who believe that we may reach herd immunity before we get the vaccine. But question is, it's very risky because a lot of people are going to be infected, more than 70% of the population. But do not be afraid. Majority will not have any problem. A recent survey in Delhi has shown that more than 40% of the people in Delhi have been infected. But remember, they were not hospitalized. And another survey in the slums of Bombay, the Dharvi slums, have shown almost 60% of people there have been infected with this virus. But they're all safe. They're doing well. So nothing to worry, even if you are infected. So how contagious is this virus? If you look here, it can infect around 2 to 3 persons. And we have a lot of other diseases. Measles, 12 to 18 persons. Smallpox is gone. Polio is gone. Mumps, HIV. These are the influenza. These are much more contagious than this virus. Now, this was a figure shown by some of the scientists to frighten the public. Now, this was the global deaths due to various causes. On 13th of January, we see diabetes, TB, suicide, etc., etc. There is no COVID here. On 17th of July, COVID is number 3 on the list. More than almost 6 lakh deaths. So this is just to frighten the people. Let us look at the statistics. Statistics is a jugglery. Let me tell you the facts. As on 1st August yesterday, global cases have been around 17 million with more than 6.77 lakhs dying, that is 0.038% only of the infected cases, which we have caught. There are at least 4 times the number of patients or number of persons who have been infected, and we don't know. So this figure is going to be much, much less. Again, in India itself, look at the figures. It is better than the world figure, 0.021%. And again, this figure is going to be much less if we take in the data that more than 40% people in Delhi, or maybe around 60%, and more than 70% people in the Dharavi slum have been infected. The case will be even less than 0.002%. So you can imagine that how threatening the figures have been given to the public. Now, who should test? There is no permission required, no hospitalization required, but you need a doctor's reference. That is important, and there are certain Aadhaar cards and all things you needed, but that is you need to test everybody who is asymptomatic. It is, some people believe that bleach or any other disinfectant, you can spray on your body and get a relief from this virus. No, sir. No spraying of bleach or disinfectant will ever protect you from this virus. Exposing to sun or temperature is not going to protect you from this virus. So don't sit in the sun and get a sunburn. Ultraviolet lamps should not be used. You will burn your hands instead of disinfecting them. And there are people from the other speciality, Ayush speciality, and the Babas. They say regularly rinse your nose with saline and help prevent infection. No, sir, it is not going to help you at all. Drinking alcohol, because alcohol is the best disinfectant. Drinking alcohol is not going to protect you against COVID, and in fact can be dangerous to your health. So how to protect oneself? What I call as SMS. And what does SMS stand for? Social distancing, masking, and sanitization and hand hygiene. These are simple precautions which all of us can take. And what is social distancing? Maintain at least 6 feet distance. Sorry for this cartoon. This gentleman is not chasing the lady. I'm just trying to show that they should maintain a 6 feet or more than 6 feet distance between any two persons. Of course, the choice is yours. Or you may be 6 feet under there. That is your choice. Now, what is universal masking? The CDC website. Everyone should wear a cloth face cover when they have to go out in the public. For example, you want to go to the grocery store, pick up other necessities. Even if you're not feeling sick, please wear a cloth face cover. And it should not be used for children under 2 years. Anybody who has trouble in breathing or is incapacitated and cannot remove the mask. The cloth face cover is meant to protect the other people in case you are infected. Remember, do not use a face mask meant for a healthcare worker. Don't run after this N95 mask. They are not meant for you. They are meant for the healthcare workers who are dealing with COVID-19 cases. Continue to keep at least 6 feet between yourself and others. Remember, just wearing a mask is not going to protect you unless you also maintain a good physical distance of 6 feet or more. And these simple masks are very easy to sterilize. You just put it in the hot water cycle in the washer and heat dry. Don't use synthetic fabric because they'll not be good. The simple mask is more than sufficient. Don't run to market to buy masks. And let me show you. Here is a carrier who's without a mask and you are wearing a mask. There is a transmission probability of 70%. And if the carrier is wearing a mask and you are not wearing a mask as healthy, transmission is reduced to 5% because it is the carrier who is transmitting. So it is very important that the carrier should be wearing a mask, and we don't know whether we are carriers or not. So all of us should wear a mask when we go. And when both are wearing a mask, the transmission is reduced to 1.5%, and it is almost zero if you maintain a distance of more than 6 feet. But the advice I want to give you is, please refuse to relate closely or meet anyone who's not wearing a face mask. Anybody who comes to you must wear a face mask in front of you, and you should also wear a face mask. Again, I want to emphasize 40% transmission happens before any symptom. The person may think, I'm healthy, why should I wear a face mask? No, you may be a carrier. You wear a mask to protect others, and they wear a mask to protect you. So it's a question of we as human beings, not me and you, not me and I. Now, masks should be worn properly. You go in the market, you will see people wearing masks like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. This is not the way to wear a mask. It is better you don't wear it. And I'll show you, a lot of people have a habit of pulling their mask down when they're talking or they want to drink water or something. Never do that because any infection in the neck area will be automatically transmitted to your mouth and nose. So it's very important. If you have to eat or drink anything, totally remove the mask and maintain a physical distance from the other person and eat and drink whatever you want to. People ask, if I wear mask for a long time, I'll not have proper oxygen delivery. No, sir. Properly wearing a mask does not cause carbon dioxide intoxication nor any oxygen deficiency. The only place where you should not wear a mask is when you are doing vigorous exercises, because then there you may have difficulty in breathing. So please, you remove your mask when you are doing a vigorous exercise, but see that there is nobody around and you maintain more than 6 feet distance from any other person. The third is washing hands frequently with soap and water. Don't go for any detergents or special sanitizers to wash your hands. Simple soap and water is more than sufficient. And there are surgeons in this group. Dr. Bharat is there, an excellent plastic surgeon. And these are the ways he taught us how to wash our hands, and that is what we do. You have to wash your hands very, very properly so that every part of the hand is washed in a proper way. People have started going back to work and they're very happy. Though now the most of the company are saying work from home. So when you do go to work, and whoever goes to work, remember, avoid men. That is, don't touch your mouth, eyes, and nose. And follow women. That is, wash your hands, obey social distancing, mask up, exercise and eat well, and no unnecessary traveling. Now, there are people who are diabetic and they want to know from me what should be done. Now, I believe in holistic medicine. And you see, what is this? This is called a DOL. And DOL stands for diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and lipids. So we have to take care of all these things, not only the blood sugar. And when there is a DOL, there is bound to be Bhangra. That's the Punjabi flavor. And when there is Bhangra, it stands basically for B is for behavior modification. We must realize that there is a threat. Yes, there is a threat. We'll rise up to that threat. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let us remain happy. Let us not get morose and saddened just because there is a threat. We have to change our attitude and we must maintain an active physical life. There is no need to go like an ostrich and bury their heads in the sand. We must maintain our regular exercises. We must have a nutritious, balanced diet. And also that it's very important that we must reduce the risk like blood pressure, the cholesterol, so all the medicines we should take, and we must stay away from smoking, alcohol, and drug abuse. Now remember, this is a good nutritious diet and a short-term investment in how you feel, a mid-term investment how you look, and a long-term investment in your freedom from disease. All you need is a good balanced diet. There are no other things called so-called immune boosting things which all these babas are selling that you take this for your boosting your immune function. They're all useless. This is the only thing that is going to help you. Don't eat junk food. Otherwise, the problem will be the COVID will go away, but you will not be able to go out of here. So avoid eating junk food and do regular exercise. As far as the sugar is controlled, remember, if the sugar is not controlled, 11% people will die. But if you maintain your blood sugar, 98.9% will have no problem. So control of blood sugar is very important. And there are some special instructions that I want all people with diabetes to know. There are five no's. No going out, no gatherings, no laziness, sedentariness, no stopping medicines, and no anxiety. There are five keeps. Keep wearing a face mask when you go out. Keep hands clean. Keep open communication with your doctor. Keep a regular and active life. And keep a scientific attitude to COVID 19. Don't be misled by the social media. Five, refuse. Refuse to visit friends. Refuse group dining. Refuse to shake hands or hug. Refuse rumors. And refuse to taste wild animals if you are eat exotic foods. People also want to know whether a person who has been infected with COVID and then cured, can he get a reinfection? Well, the fact is, nobody knows. Maybe not, because there are animal experiments which have shown that reinfection does not occur. And what we are basically seeing is dead virus particles. But maybe yes also, because there are a lot of variants of this virus. The virus is mutating. And fortunately for India, we have got the virus which is of a less infective form, less virulent form. And we know that once the antibodies form, after 28 days, they start declining. So what is going to happen after 6 months? We don't know. We are still dealing with a 6 month baby. So we cannot give a COVID clearance certificate or an immunity passport to anybody who has suffered from COVID-19 and been cured. My only request to these persons are, please go and donate your plasma, your blood for plasma transfusions. And remember, even if you have got COVID and you have been cured, you still need to wear a mask, maintain social distancing, and hand hygiene. Now, this is authorization from the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Remember, if you are hospitalized, the cost is going to be exorbitant. And now it is then insured. They'll give you the money. Because if you are not insured, this is what happen to you when you go to give your final bill of the COVID settlement. Friends, last part, coming to social isolation and stress. I have a lot of patients who went through tremendous social isolation and stress during the lockdown period. Stress is an important part of life. And what is happening? Anxiety, depression, mood disturbances, memory problems, addictive behavior, fear of the unknown, suicidal tendencies. But the question is how to avoid this. Maintain usual waking hours, do a regular exercise, have a nutritious diet, develop a creative hobby, play online games, increase your family bonding, do some yoga, pranayama, meditation. These are the things that are going to help you. Maintain contact with relations and friends through phone, WhatsApp, FaceTime, etc. Remember, we are talking about physical and not social distance. That is very important. So, what are the present solutions to this problem? Test, test, test. We have to test the entire public if possible. We have to isolate those who are infected. We have to treat them. We have to trace their contacts, take care of the elderly and children, and we have to be transparent in our figures. The good news, majority of the patients, more than 85 to 95, 90% of patients will not have any symptoms and will recover. Every adversity is an opportunity, and we are going to end up with a healthier society. In lighter vein, remember, a lockdown was an answer to our pollution health committee. There were no traffic accidents. TB notification increased. People with cough used to rush to us. There is going to be long-term reduction in infectious diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, jaundice. Long-term reduction in the flu. Family bonding is going to become very strong. I know of a senior executive in an IT company who was forced to sit at home during the lockdown. And on the fourth day, his daughter gets him in the morning and asks the mother, "Who's this man in our house?" And she says, "He's your father." Well, but I've never seen him before because he was working. So that is where family bonding is becoming strong. Remember, let's keep our hopes alive and our attitude positive. Remember, even the darkest clouds have a silver lining. So, parting remarks, what should we do? Be aware. Yes, we have to be aware. There is a threat, but we are prepared for that. We are not going to be intimidated by this. They are not going to stay in lockdown for the entire period of time. And today, lockdown has no sense. Lockdown is not going to drive the virus away. Lockdown is just meant for preparing your health facility. And if you have not done it so far, sorry, we can't help it. I don't believe in lockdowns any longer. We should go out, meet, do our things on a routine basis. But remember, wear a mask, maintain social distance. Don't neglect yourself. Don't panic. That is a very important. And above all, please don't stigmatize people as he is COVID positive. We have lived through much more worse pandemics than this. The plague pandemic, which wiped out more than 50 million people. The HIV or AIDS pandemic, which was there during 1980s, wiped out more than 35 million people. Now the people are dying in lakhs only, and we are creating a huge mountain from a molehill only because of the social media and this. Friends, earlier people in the conference or Rotary meetings, somebody who's tired of listening to a person like Dr. Virmani would go to sleep. But don't worry, things are getting better. I know some persons are doing this also. Thank you.
That was fantastic, fantastic. Very well presented in a very crisp manner. We are overwhelmed, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the lovely presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Virmani. I think from the overwhelming response that we've got, and to say that, yes, I also had attended so many sessions, but by far, this really takes the cake. Thank you so much. Yes, we have received a lot many questions. We will keep it for our question and answer session after we finish listening to Dr. Nilima Tirke as well. I will now request Dr. Nilima Tirke to take us through her presentation and her views and thoughts about it. And I would request Nikita. Nikita, kindly keep the PPT ready and kindly assist Dr. Nilima Tirke with it. So now the next speaker would be Dr. Nilima Tirke.
Thank you so much, Sukanya. Thank you, Nikita, for helping me out. I'm taking you from Dr. Virmani, and he very rightly mentioned about the parting message on how we need to be handling COVID-19, and very important problem and challenging issue at hand we have right now. Mental health implications of COVID-19. Now, normal people who are exposed to extraordinary situation leads to stress and mental health issues. We all have been adjusting to this new realities of working from home. There are temporary unemployment, homeschooling of children, lack of physical contact with families and friends. We have been adapting to all such strategies. This all brings in stress. Next slide, please. The outline of my presentation is maybe a minute or so on COVID-19 scenario, world, India, and Jharkhand. How integral is mental health issues to COVID-19? What are the types of mental health problems we have experiencing? Who are affected? And maybe some time on surveillance and contact tracing. And how do we go about doing this? How do we manage it? Next slide, please. Cases as on 1st August 2020, we have been, these are the numbers. So if you see the world, the cases are maybe around 17 million. India, it is 1.6 million. Jharkhand, till yesterday, 11,000 cases. Ani Singhbhum, Jamshedpur, we are second highest after Ranchi. That's 1,800 cases since yesterday. Next slide, please. This slide, the purpose of this slide is basically to show the COVID-19 situation in Jharkhand 1 month back. So we can see in the graph, in the bar chart, we have Jamshedpur, Singhbhum having the maximum number of cases, followed by Simdega and Ranchi. And till date, none of the districts are immune to the cases. And there were around 3,000 cases as of 7th July. But now we can see the cases are, in 1 month, it has increased fourfold. On the right-hand side, there's a table which shows 7-day doubling rates. So this data has been actually presented by the government of Jharkhand. So based on the data, based on the type of cases being reported, they have predicted the doubling rates. And for East Singhbhum, it is 15 days. Next slide, please. So we can see for the last previous 2 slides, the take-home message is the cases are increasing. Now, COVID-19 and mental health. Since the cases which have been reported since in Wuhan, China, in this last 5 to 6 months, various studies have been conducted worldwide to assess what are the mental health consequences like anxiety, depression, frustration, uncertainty during COVID-19 outbreak. So there's been meta-analysis study. They have pulled the reports from various studies worldwide, and they have found out that almost 1/3 of general population are stressed out. Prevalence of anxiety and prevalence of depression was found to be almost 1/3 of total general population. Studies have also been done to find out what is the anxiety level and depression level among the healthcare workers, among the patients with pre-existing conditions. And it was found out that more than half, that is majority of people were stressed out, had anxiety and depression. Next slide, please. The types of mental health problems. Anxiety. It's about thinking about future, uncertainty of future. Now the fear, what we can see due to COVID-19 is the fear of contracting the virus, the fear of giving the virus back to the family, and the fear of uncertainty. The most 3 important fears right now associated with COVID-19. So thinking about future. So there are various other physical symptoms which happen like sweating, dizziness, irritability, insomnia, there's a tiredness and headache. Depression, feeling low. There are times when we say we are feeling low. We react at small things. Irritability, diminished appetite. So these are the way mental health issues behave. Next slide, please. We have been, since the inception, when we started seeing a lockdown in our country, we have seen substance abuse like alcohol. There were newspaper clippings on people committed suicide in Kerala because of non-availability of alcohol. There were many other news clippings on when it was eased down on May 4th, queues outside liquor shops across India. So binge alcohol drinking has come out as one of a coping strategy during this COVID-19. Excessive internet and mobile use. No doubt, during this time, technology use has increased because many people have resorted to work from home. On one hand, there's been use of technology, but then on other hand, there's been excessive internet mobile use as a coping strategy to alleviate stress. Video games, watching TV serials, heavy use of social media, all this has actually increased. Stigma, rightly said by Dr. Virmani, feeling of discrimination has also come up during this COVID-19, specifically seen among the healthcare workers, the sanitary workers, the frontline workers who are actually coming close contact with the patients or suspects. Initially, during the initial phases of lockdown, we had seen in the newspaper saying that doctors were asked to vacate the rooms in the apartments only because of the heightened fear of contracting the disease and misinformation about infection. Even those who have recovered from COVID-19 face such discrimination. We shall see more about it in the next slide. Next slide, please. Psychological impact of quarantine. Now, quarantine, social distancing, these norms are in place right now, but they have also brought in negative psychological impact. For example, even we have been experiencing whenever there's a travel history, when people come from outside, we ask them for an institutional quarantine. The first thing is people react. They say, I have come safely in my own vehicle. I don't want to stay in quarantine where there are many other people. So the fear of contracting the infection or the disease. There's a denial. Oh, I'm safe. Nothing, I'm not sick. So this is the first thing, first reaction people have, followed by anger. When we try to tell them this, that this is for your good. I mean, when you isolate yourself, it is good for your family members. So anger, there's depression, people start bargaining, and at the end they accept. So it is important to address, speak to them politely, tell them the guidelines, make them understand why this is important for them. And so this will actually help them. So there is frustration, boredom when they stay in a quarantine. They have thoughts of inadequate supplies and inadequate information. Next slide, please. Now, who are affected? Everybody is affected. I mean, specifically, if you look at entire population is affected by this. So the students specifically, because of near total closure of schools, university, colleges, there are uncertainties on commencement of exams for students who have been preparing, and more severe impact for disadvantaged children. In the rural setup, coming to school is not just about education. It is also, they are provided midday meal, as per, as per midday meal programs, they are given food. So there's an interrupted learning, compromised nutrition and childcare problems. For women and children, there are various studies being reported saying that there's been increase in domestic violence, increase in intimate partner violence, child abuse and neglect of older people. Next slide, please. Physicians, healthcare workers, the frontline workers, the COVID warriors, they're the most vulnerable population. They have been required to work under stressful conditions. Initial time when there was lack of adequate PPE, people were all scared to work actually. And it has been also seen that the anxiety, depression and stress level is very high and causing increasing work demands, which causes psychological stress. Essential service provider, sanitation worker. In JUSCO Public Health Department, we have almost 800 contract employees. And during all these days, they have been coming for work. The fear of poverty or the fear of no work is more than fear of contracting disease. They do have fear when they come for work. The police, they are also working, especially in containment zones and for barricading. So they all are affected. Next slide, please. Surveillance and contact tracing. So we started in Jamshedpur, we started surveillance somewhere from mid of April. Backslide, Nikita. So we started surveillance. This was basically for all the people who were having travel history. They were coming down, they were getting admitted in TMH for various ailments, for that, be it for treatment, be it for surgery. So in coordination with TMH, we were getting the list of all those people who were discharged from the hospital. COVID-19 test was being done, they were all negative. We were asked to do a surveillance to follow up with them to see if they're having fever, cough, or breathlessness. So for people who were staying in and around command areas, our team used to make home visits. They used to go to their homes every 7th day and 14th day and inquire about their health status. And for people who were from far off area, we were conducting telephonic surveillance. And during this time, we found it was not an easy task. We found that people refuse, please don't come to our place. Why don't you call up and find out how we are faring? So the thing is, they used to say, अगर आप आएंगे तो यहाँ पर हमारा जीना मुश्किल हो जाएगा. People will know that we have a travel history and things like that. So we had to balance, we wanted an information from them, and we had to balance that they don't feel stigmatized or discriminated. So we used to go for a telephonic surveillance also. And now, since the cases have started coming up, we are also doing contact tracing. We are calling up all the positive confirmed cases asking the movement details in the last 14 days. Again, this even making an inquiry is not easy. They refuse to give us information. We have we need an information to identify who are the high risk contacts, and then immediately send them for testing or guide them accordingly either to the MGM or the TMH. So the purpose of contact tracing is basically to identify contacts, high risk contacts at the earliest and interrupt the transmission of disease. Now, for the contacts, when we call the contacts, they are also scared. And they're surprised, they're scared, and they don't know what to do. Help you. Please reach out to us if you have any other problems. It's about they're surprised. They say in this all this last 14 days, place I've not we have not been seeing our relatives. I don't know how I got this disease. So they're filled with surprise. So we them telling that, okay, you please recover. You are at a best place here. You'll get all treatment, and please get back to us for any support. So all this we have been doing for the last 1.5 months. Next slide, please. The last part about what do we do about this? Dr. Virmani has rightly mentioned. I'm just adding on to all these instructions. First thing is we need to make a routine for ourselves, a routine of getting up from bed and going back to bed at the same time, keeping time for ourselves, keeping time for what we want to do, for specifically for our hobbies, taking time. There's a time for work, there's a time to rest. Minimize watching, reading, or listening to news. Take information only from trusted sources. Take information only during a specific time of a day. Protect yourself. Stay in. It's important to be in touch with our friends and family members. Next slide, please. Feeling stress, quite normal. And it is not at all a sign of weakness. We all need to manage our mental health in addition to our physical health. Coping up strategies, I've already mentioned. Unhelpful coping strategies, use of tobacco, alcohol, drugs should be avoided. Next slide, please. Maintaining connect with our loved ones, social support, yoga, physical exercises, sleep hygiene. Next slide. Sleep hygiene, we all know about this. Next slide, please. COVID-19 is here to stay. We all are emotional about this, and there is a lot at stake. This time calls for behavioral changes and discipline, bringing in discipline to whatever we do. Adopt practices for oneself. Be sensitive, empathetic towards others, and no one size fits all. I come to an end. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nilimaji. It was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Very good insight into the psychological issues of COVID-19. We always have certain information, coming from certain sources, but summing up it in such a good way, everything together. And I must appreciate your voice. You got a lovely voice. Each alphabet you spoke was so crystal clear. I must appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima. We move on to the next session, which is the question answer session. Yes, this is something that we've been waiting for. I could see so many questions that people have typed in. So there are quite a few questions to be answered by both of our dignitaries. Now, just before the question and answer, I would just have should I say it's a gentle reminder, a small request and announcement that after the question and answer session, we would like to all be together and wish Dr. Virmani formally, informally, whichever way you want to. So after the question and answer session, after the vote of thanks, kindly stay logged on. There is a small surprise which has already reached Dr. Vermani, but it is there for all of you. And Alpa will take us through it. So after the question and answer session and our vote of thanks, please do not log off. Kindly bear with us for a couple of more minutes. And now I hand this over to Nikita, who will be reading out the questions, and our eminent speakers will take us through their answers. Thank you. Nikita, over to you.
Thank you, Sukanya. So we start with the first question. Am I audible?
Nikita, are you there?
Yes, yes, you're.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
Very much.
This question comes from Mr. Naveen Gupta. His question is for Dr. Virmani. A person who's 31-year-old is COVID positive and gets antibody test done on 26th day when all symptoms are
When it was speaking,
we have Dr. Vimani.
yeah, I've got the question here in front of me. And 26th day when all the symptoms are gone, okay, let me tell you one thing. The current recommendations of the Indian Council of Medical Research and the Government of Health and Ministry and Health and Welfare Ministry are that there is no need to test after 10 days. Well, if a person has been tested positive, he is symptomatic, he is okay, he is in the hospital, there's no problem. On the 10th day, if he has been without fever or any symptoms in the previous 48 hours, he can be discharged and no test is required. Why? Because it is now we have scientific proof that this virus does not replicate after 10 days. So the person after 10 days did not go for any test. He can go home, enjoy, but remain masked, remain use. Have your physical distancing and hand hygiene. That he has to do, but there is no need of any further testing. I hope it answers your question, Mr. Naveen.
So we move to the next question. It is from Sitanshu, Mr. Sitanshu. How to keep positivity around in this pandemic situation? Again to Dr. Virmani.
Okay, I know it's a very difficult thing to remain positive, but then being positive is an attitude that has to come from within. Nobody is going to teach us how to be positive. Just remember the very fact that we cannot change the world. We have to change ourselves. There is a storm that is coming, and the storm passing around the house. We cannot stop the storm, but at least we can keep ourselves calm. We need not panic. And once we know that the storm will pass away, every dark cloud has a silver lining. So the biggest way to remain positive is to have a good attitude, improve your family bonding, talk to your old friends, look up to old friends, enjoy with them through WhatsApp, through FaceTime, joke, remain happy, play online games, do a creative hobby. Divert your mind from the crisis. And this is the only way we can remain positive. Do some yoga, meditation, pranayama. These things are really going to help you. Let me assure you this.
Next question from Sushmita Chakrabarti. What is the immediate precaution for COVID patient before taking him or her to the hospital?
Let me tell you again one thing today. I advise everybody, especially if they're having diabetes, to keep 4 things in their house. It's very important for all of us. One is what is called a glucometer, which tests the blood sugar. Number 2, is a home blood pressure monitor where you can check your blood pressure. Number 3 is a thermal screening or a thermometer, whatever you want to keep. And number 4 is a oximeter, which will give you the saturation of oxygen. These 4 are a must in every educated person's household today. And the patient, the problem with this infection is that the patient may be absolutely normal now, and by evening he'll suddenly become breathless. So he has to be very carefully watched if he has proven positive and he's doing home isolation. Because now home isolation is now is becoming more and more common. So for home isolation, earlier we used to admit every patient, even with mild symptoms, to the hospital. But now it has been declared that patients with mild symptoms did not go to the hospital, but they can be monitored in the house if they are keeping these 4 things, if they've got a separate room, and if they have got somebody who can help them and look at them throughout 24 hours. So the only thing you have to do is just watch whether the fever is rising, whether the blood pressure is falling, whether the oxygen saturation is coming to less than 95. 95 is the number you must remember. The moment oxygen falls to less than 95, the person should be immediately shifted to hospital. And if you can keep oxygen in your house, nothing like that.
Next question is from Rotarian Moin Khan. Whether we need to sterilize our mask every day after use, or how long it can be used?
If you're using a simple cloth mask or a simple mask which is not a healthcare mask, the masks, unless they are contaminated, soiled or dirty, can be used for a period of about 3 to 4 days on an individual. There's no problem. After 4th day, wash it, dry it, wash it in hot water and dry it, and again you can reuse it. There's no need to change the mask every day, but it must remain clean. It must be put in a clean environment. It should not be soiled or contaminated.
Next question from Vidyut Shaw. Will warm weather stop the outbreak of COVID-19?
No.
That was the dream that we all had in the early months of this virus, because the virus started during the winter months. But unfortunately, the history has proved when we saw this virus creating havoc in a place like Singapore, which has very warm temperatures, we knew that temperature is not going to affect this virus at all. This has got nothing to do with temperature. So let's forget it. The temperatures have got nothing to do with it.
Next question from Harsh Aryan. Can mask made of cloth protect us from COVID-19?
Yes.
As I said earlier, the mask is not for your protection. You're wearing a mask to protect the other person whom we are meeting. And he is wearing a mask to protect you. See, and this is not rocket science, it's simple logic. The infection spreads when somebody coughs or sneezes in front of you. And normally when you are not wearing a mask and somebody is coughing and you are within a distance of less than 6 feet, obviously some aerosols are going to come into your mouth. So we are just creating a barrier there, as simple as that. And by creating a distance of more than 6 feet, which is more important, that you must also maintain. Only just wearing a mask is not going to help. You also should maintain a distance of more than 6 feet, meaning thereby that this will not only prevent the aerosols reaching your mouth, they cannot reach because the distance is also far and there is a barrier in front of you. And you can use any cloth mask. In people who cannot afford it, the poor people in Bihar, at least I know I have got some patients from Bihar, and I tell them you can even use your so-called gamcha, but see that it is clean, it is washed, it is not a dirty gamcha. The ladies can use even a chunni, that provided it is doubled up and tripled up. So there is no problem. It's question of just creating a barrier. That's all.
Next question is from Dr. Bharat. What is survey which was carried out at Delhi?
This was basically a zero surveillance, which means that we are looking at the titer of antibodies to this virus in people who are not having any symptoms. So they picked up a crowd. I mean, at randomly they picked up some spots in Delhi, which was around say about 400, 500 people they picked up, and they measured their IgG and IgM antibodies, and they found that 40% of the people had positive IgG antibodies, indicating a past infection. Similarly, in the Dharvi slums of Bombay or Mumbai, whatever you call it, this they had almost they tried to cover 80% of the people in the slum, and they found that 60% of the people had positive antibodies, which means they were infected. They had a history of infection, but they remained asymptomatic. And I'm sure this figure is going to be much more. And that's what I said in the early stages, that we don't know. Perhaps we may reach herd immunity even before the virus arrives. And then we may not need before the vaccination arrives, and then we may not need the vaccine.
Next question again from Dr. Bharat. Are we on way to developing herd immunity?
I think that is what I just said. We are on a way, but I think it's too risky to wait and see. Let us the disease take its own course. At least we can take our precautions.
Some next question from Arya Singh. How quarantine is helpful?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
How quarantine is helpful?
Why quarantine is needed?
It's written helpful. I think it's from some student.
Okay.
That is why it is not clear.
Okay. First of all, let me tell you, we are using two words: isolation and quarantine. You must know the difference between these two words. When we ask a person to go for quarantine, which is basically he's been separated and goes into a secluded room and stays there for 10 to 14 days, these are the persons who are suspected to have COVID, but are COVID negative and may have come in contact with a COVID positive person. That is called quarantine. And the purpose of quarantine is that even if they are asymptomatic carriers, they should not spread it to the others. When we talk about isolation, it basically means these are people who have been infected with COVID and they are COVID positive, then they need to be isolated, usually in the hospital if the symptoms are moderate to severe, or mild to moderate, they can remain in the home provided they have all the facilities. So this difference must be maintained between isolation and quarantine. The main aim is that they don't spread the disease to the others in this way.
Next is chances of having COVID-19 by eating non-veg. There are any chances? Are there any chances?
Food does not cause COVID-19. Newspapers do not cause COVID-19. Home delivery of food does not cause COVID-19. Let us be very clear about this. Keeping pet dogs does not cause COVID-19. And very interestingly, in Germany, in the German command forces, they have now 6 dogs which they have been trained to smell out COVID positive patients from their urine. So they are helping us today. These dogs, pet dogs, trained dogs are helping us in identifying patients with COVID positive so that they can be isolated or quarantined before a test is even being done. So eat whatever you want, but have a nutritious, balanced diet.
Next is why the COVID patient after recovering again become positive.
Exactly. That is what we were thinking, whether it's reinfection or not. But animal experiments, as I said, have shown that even if you find a test is positive, this is because of the dead virus. When we do a COVID test, we only are looking at the antigen of the virus. We don't know whether the virus is live or not. So even after 10 days, now studies have proved that the virus does not replicate, it does not multiply. So whatever we are seeing positive is possibly the dead virus. That is why the recent guidelines from the World Health Organization, the Center of Disease Control, the Indian Council of Medical Research have given clear-cut instructions that after 10 days, no need of any test and let the person go home if he is not having any symptoms in the previous 48 hours.
The next question I think is for Dr. Nilima. It's from Ankita Mishra. That as you said, many people aren't cooperating the healthcare team and those who are going to take the feedback. How to solve that problem? How to create awareness and positivity related to the issue? In many cases, neighbors start creating negative environment. How to create that negative to a positive side?
Yes, Nikita, about this question, yes, easier said than done. I mean, we have been, let's say, bring our interaction with the patients, the contacts, we keep counseling, we keep telling them, be sensitive, we should be sensitive and empathetic to others. Again and again, we even during our interaction with our own colleagues, we have been telling and again. But when we know next to my house there's a positive patient, and then we start reacting. It's not easy actually. Even the neighbors, when they are behaving in a way like creating issues, it is all because of the fear of contracting disease. So the stigma, this discrimination, feeling of discrimination, the feeling of stigma, it will not go away actually easily. So this issue is a real issue. We just have to counsel them whenever there's an opportunity. We need to counsel them. Because here we have seen the colony where I stay. We do have people reacting. We do have neighbors coming up to the hospital telling that, see, the person is in quarantine, and why is he staying at home? He should be in the institutional quarantine. So people keep complaining. We counsel them. We tell them, see, they are not moving around. They need time. They will recover. So you need not worry. So this is going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, there's no real answer to it. This is all I can say from my side.
Can I just add a few lines? If I have the permission, can I add 2 lines?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What I was saying is, now don't stigmatize. Who's stigmatizing? It is we who are stigmatizing this. Remember, I tell persons that, remember, 80% of people do not have any symptoms. How do you know you are not infected? Even a person like Amitabh Bachchan and Aishwarya Rai were infected. So what is there to stigmatize? We should not bother. We may be positive, okay, so what? We'll fight it out. Let us not stigmatize this. There is a fear created in the public, and this fear has been created by the TV channels and the social media. I'm sorry to say, but unfortunately, so much panic has been created. There's nothing to worry. It's just a common cold gone wrong. As simple as that.
Next question is, if we eat warm food, will it reduce the effect of COVID-19? From Ishan Mukherjee.
Eat any food as long as it's hygienic, nutritious, and balanced. No problem. Preferably, there is now, we have sufficient scientific evidence to prove that plant-based diets and vegetarian diet is the best diet to prevent diabetes and heart disease. So I think it is better that all of us now should shift to a plant-based diet with lot of green leafy vegetables and fruits and whole grains. That is very important. My apologies to the people who love their non-veg. Even I am a non-veg, but then I'm telling in general that it is good to have a plant-based diet, and you can add non-veg if you want, but your majority of your chunk of your diet should be plant-based.
The next question is, why we should not wear filter mask?
You should not have
Filter mask.
The N95 mask. I think, the N95 masks we should not use in general public because they are required for the healthcare workers who are working with COVID patients or potential COVID patients in the hospital. If the public starts wearing this mask, then this will be a short supply for the healthcare persons who really need it. That is the only reason, nothing else. You can be protected even with a simple cloth cover, as simple as that. Why do you want to waste money for an N95 mask unless you are in touch with the COVID-19 patients? Over to you, Nikita.
Yeah, I'm just, I think we are done with the questions. I'm just scrolling. Yeah, I think we're done. No, one question is typhoid earlier stage of COVID-19.
Yeah. Typhoid is typhoid is a different disease at all. Typhoid is different, COVID is different. And we are still learning about this viral disease. It started with fever, cough, and breathing difficulty, but now we are seeing the whole body systems are being involved. Patients are presenting with cardiac problems. Patients are presenting with neurological problems. Patients are presenting with rashes. Patients are presenting with multiple different clinical presentations that we are still learning about this disease. But it definitely has got nothing to do with typhoid. There's another question: if somebody has got IgM positive and IgG negative, what does it mean? It means that the patient has active infection at the moment. IgM is the first to rise, and then it declines at around 7 to 9 days, and then the IgG starts rising, which is there till almost 28 days and indicates a past infection. I don't think there is.
Dr. Bharat wants to say something. We'll unmute him. You can unmute yourself, Dr. Bharat.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, that was brilliant, Dr. Virmani. As usual, we have heard you, and I just want to add one comment to it. The other day we were hearing Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. She is the epidemiology scientist of World Health Organization. She said the only two things which can see through a country like India with diverse cultural practice and density of population is the two things which Dr. Virmani also highlighted. Number one, the herd immunity, which when the COVID-19 infection is widely prevalent, there are certain factors which will lead to development of herd immunity. So people will get infected less. And number two, of course, vaccine. One of you can really touch upon the vaccine status, because there's one thing which we look forward to, which we believe by the end of this year or maybe January, February, we should be able to. There are still certain stumbling blocks, but then I think I would like one of the speakers to sort of either Virmani or Dr. Nilima to just touch upon the vaccine status so far as COVID-19 is concerned. Thank you.
Now, let me tell you, development of a vaccine actually takes around 5 to 10 years. Today, we had to fast track things. We had to throw evidence into the dustbin. People became so desperate that phase 1, phase 2 trials, which take almost 2 to 3 years or 4 years, were cramped into 2 to 3 weeks. So you can imagine the evidence that we are getting. I don't think it's going to be scientific evidence. So already there is a vaccine that is under phase 3 trials, and they think by the end of this year or maybe early next year, they will start using this vaccine. In fact, the human trials have also started in certain hospitals, starting from AIIMS, Delhi to Patna to Bhubaneswar. They have already started a human being, and this is to be given twice daily. But we don't know how long it will be effective. gotten into the antibody status, and it's going to take a minimum of 2 years before you can really say with confidence that here is a vaccine which is going to give you its worth of money.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Virmani.
I think we come to the end of interactive session. Over to you, Alpa.
Beena ji wants to ask one question.
Oh yeah, I have made her the co-host. She can unmute herself and say. if she
Beena
wants.
Mundra. And
Beena
I
ji, unmute.
be the last one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, hi everyone. Namaste,
Hi,
Dr.
Veena ji.
Anil ji.
Hello, Veena ji.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi, Dr. Bharat.
Hello.
I saw Dr. Vijay also. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. Virmani, आपका टॉक तो मैं और विजय हम लोग दोनों आपके बहुत बड़े फैन हैं, आपके ओरेटरी स्किल्स प्लस आपके नॉलेज के. मुझे सवाल नहीं करना था, मुझे एक वाकया शेयर करना था सबके साथ में. इट इज जस्ट टू सबका मॉरल बूस्ट करने के लिए. वी हैड अ डॉक्टर फ्रेंड who tested COVID positive, and जो typical आपने जो बताया कि stigmatized हो जाता है, he was staying in a very small place. He was a medico friend and he was staying in a very small place, so he didn't get himself tested also. He had high fever running continuously for 12 days, and then the alarm bells started ringing. Vijay and one of his other friend, they were in constant touch with him. Then they pressurized him to get himself get the COVID test, and he tested positive. उसके बाद भी उनका फीवर नीचे नहीं उतरा रहा था, 102 तक फीवर जा रहा था उनका. तो उनको बोला कि आप सीटी करवा लो. एक्सरे सीटी कुछ भी नहीं करवाया उन्होंने. उन्होंने कहा नहीं मैं एकदम सेफ हूँ, मैं घर में हूँ, ऐसे ऐसे करके. ही वाज अ मेडिको, लेट मी टेल यू. तो सीटी में उनके लंग्स में चेंजेस आ गए थे, मतलब देयर वर पैचेस इन हिज लंग्स. सो देन मेडिको फ्रेंड्स थे दूसरे 2 जन जो थे वो, तो दोनों ने मिलकर के मेडिसिन स्टार्ट किया उनको. एंड बिलीव मी टुडे ही इज फाइन. उनको लास्ट 5-6 दिनों से नो फीवर, ही इज हेल्दी अगेन, एंड ही इज अ डायबिटिक ऑल्सो. So everything is going normal. So what I just wanted to share this this particular incident, because I want to let everybody know that don't panic, because if you are healthy, if you have a positive outlook, it will go a long way in protecting yourself from this COVID. And as Dr. Virmani has highlighted, the 3 SMS is extremely important, extremely important. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I must just point out that the test that we are doing for COVID-19 is what is known as the RT-PCR, which is basically a test to find out the
Yeah.
But in 30% of the cases, test is negative, which is a false negative. So now,
false negative, yeah.
If the patient has symptoms and there is a strong suspicion that this patient is having COVID-19 and he is having a negative test, then the ideal thing is to go in for a CT scan chest, because the earliest findings show in the CT scan. And of course, being positive, having a positive attitude and having the right diet is very, very important.
Very, yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Before we get to the formal vote of thanks, and of course, as I mentioned, please kindly let's wait on for a few moments after the formal vote of thanks, so that we can wish Dr. Virmani from our side. Just to sum it up, yes, we've known about the problems, negative side of social media. Social media is there for us, for our own benefits. Let's use it to our advantage and not to our disadvantage. Social stigma is something which we need to take care of. Awareness is something which we need to spread to us, to our neighborhood, to all around, whether we are on WhatsApp, whether we are on any other social platforms, that yes, we need to make each other be aware of. We need to support one another. We need to support our frontline workers. We need to reach out to anyone who might require a hand at this point of time. We need to keep safe, keep ourselves and our neighborhoods and our particulars sanitized. And last but not the least, we need to improve on our own immunity and our own health, and always be safe. Now, I would ask Alpa to kindly issue the formal vote of thanks, and then we all stay logged in for a small ceremony. So Alpa, over to you.
Thank you, Sukanya. जिंदगी की सुबह कुछ शर्तें लेके आती है, जिंदगी की सुबह कुछ शर्तें लेके आती है और हर शाम कुछ तजुर्बे देकर जाती है. I would like to thank Dr. A.K. Virmani ji, who enlightened us today about the myths and facts of COVID-19 and prevention to be taken regarding the same. Thank you, Dr. Nilima, to share your experiences as a coordinator and consultant. You have also well explained the behavior and patterns of different age groups. Thank you, doctors, for solving the queries that were at the back of many minds. A big thank you to Rajanji and Anju Gandotra, who has always been there. I must say, when I started this thought, my thought car was in the second gear. But now, when I got associated with y'all, it took a sports mode. So when I thought about it, it went on a zooming mode. And then here we are implementing the session today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sukanya, for your support throughout. I really appreciate it. Thanks behind the scenes, Nikita, Rotractor, Amit, and Shekhar, who have always been dedicated and on charge. Thank you, press media, to be well connected with us today. A heartfelt gratitude to everyone for taking out time and for logging in for today's session. Last but not the least, let's keep social distancing with COVID-19. So let's enjoy the fellowship. I am wanting Dr. Virmani to cut the cake that has been sent to you, sir. And let's wish him a very happy birthday from the Rotary family to him.
I think we can all sing also along.
Yes, absolutely.
I think he's gone to get the cake.
He's gone to get the cake. And एक छोटा सा intro और देना चाहूँगा डॉक्टर विरमानी का. He happens to be Anju's जीजाजी. Alpa, you're muted.
No, I'm not.
No.
Just
waiting for him to bring the cake. I think he's gone in to get the cake.
What if there are any more questions that people would like to ask Dr. Virmani or to Dr. Nilima, what we could do is we could just share their numbers, and if anybody has which probably might just crop up anytime in between or later on, you can send in your queries to Alpa, and I'm sure Alpa will share the numbers of the doctors with you.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Sukanya.
जीजू दीदी को भी बुला लीजिए.
Yes, she's coming.
Everybody can unmute themselves and let
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Virmani. Happy birthday to you. May God bless you. May God bless you. May God bless you, Dr. Sahab. May God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Can you please bring Dr. Anil on the spotlight? I think we can also do that. Maybe he chali gayi before I could talk.
Thank you so much. This was really enlightening.
Jiju, cake tasty tha na?
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think the last 67 years I never had such a nice birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alpa. Thank you, Alpa, for doing it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all mine, and the Rotary family is celebrating with you. So thank you, Dr. Virmani, for being there, and have a lovely day and a great year. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, all
Thank
of you, the Rotarians. Thank you and take care. God bless all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nilima. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nilima.
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Nilima. Thank you, Dr. Virmani. Happy birthday once again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday once again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alpha, very well conducted.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajanji. Appreciate being
Very professionally done, very professionally done. And
Nikita.
excellent speakers, Dr. Nilima, and both of them were very
Yeah.
nice.
Both were very good.
Amazing
Very
session,
good.
amazing session.
Nikita and Retractors. Thank you, Sukanya, for being such a lovely host as well. Thank you. And thank you, Anjuji, because getting associated with you regarding this was an experience. Thank you. Lovely.
So much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
friends.
Rajan sir. Thank you, Anju ma'am.
Bye. Thank you so
I
much.
Thank you,
think
Alpa, for
Bye-bye.
giving us
Thank you. Thank you.
And have a great Sunday ahead.
we can unmute everybody.
Happy Friendships Day, everyone.
Yeah. Happy Friendships Day.
Happy Friendship Day. Yeah. How
Happy
could we
Friendships
forget
Day.
that?
Yes.
Just
Yes.
learn to be cheerful. Yeah. You should carry on doing so.
Okay.
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you for being
Okay.
there.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.